So, I know it's attached to a cell phone, but this is what firemen would use to attach to their cell phones to run into a burning building to go help save people. So this is the real deal. So I don't know if you can see it, but there's a logo of FLIR up there in the top left-hand corner for you guys. This is not a phone app you guys can go home and download. So you need the software or the hardware to be able to get the software. So there's nothing else on this phone aside from YouTube for me to be able to upload it and a video splitting software so I can piece all of the videos together for one video for y'all. That's the only thing that's on this phone.
Okay.
So cool thing for you. What do you think we're looking for in here?
Warm,
No.
hot, or cold?
Cold. Looking for cold spots again. And
Right now we see a lot of red.
Right. Well, that's my next point is you should be able to see me, right?
Yeah.
So red, orange, and yellow guy.
Yeah.
That means I'm the hottest thing inside the frame. That's a joke, ladies. You can laugh. Now, I make that point on purpose because we're looking for those cold spots.
Okay.
We want them to be blue or black. There's always going to be blue or black in there. There's probably some in there right.
Behind you.
Exactly. Now, reason why is because I want the blue or black to take shape or to start moving on its own. When I say take shape, I want a head, shoulders, moving arms, and legs.
Okay.
So now, let's talk about your TV shows. I capture about 4 or 5 stamps of approval from me that this is definitely paranormal per year, not 15 pieces an episode from one camera.
Right.
Okay, so just kind of keep that in mind. I am
Right.
not Hollywood. So
Right.
when we do capture something with this, it is a holy shit moment. So just going to put it out there. It's
Okay.
not always a real-time find either. So what does that mean? That means that the camera is small, and I send this to YouTube so you guys can watch it on TV. I watch it on a computer. I'm not always going to follow up with you of like, hey, what's going on? I might say, a few things like, hey, did you find anything weird? But I'm not going to sit there and watch it with you. I love to record shit like this and then watch it later.
Right.
So this one's going to go to you. I figured you can handle the cell phone, right? I'm 16. Yep. I start withholding information on purpose. So I will not be giving you questions like what color was George Washington's white horse, like what we did over there with the Big Red Barn. So kind of keep that in mind. This used to be the Eliza and Charles Pinckney Mansion. So you should be familiar with that name, especially if you lived down here for a while.
Yeah.
So Eliza and Charles, who the hell were these people? They had a son named Charles. They had a nephew named Charles. That's 3 different Chucks, in case you weren't paying attention. That's why we look for those secondary clues, by the way. So that way I know which Charles to address. So if you hear the name Charles, I'm hoping to get a secondary clue from either communication device so I know which one we have. That's why I like to do that, because most colonial names, they're all the same. If you guys get, there's 15 names, and you can probably say, oh, that's from the 1700s for sure.
Yeah.
That's kind of how that works. But anyway, back to the Charles and Charles, the son and the nephew were both signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. It's a big deal for us, but I hate politics more than Anna. We're gonna move on. We're gonna talk about Eliza. Normally, if I have like a little guy in the tour, like who has no idea what the hell I'm talking about, I use him as the butt of my jokes.
Yeah.
But anyway, Anna, sorry, you're the butt of my jokes today because you're still not talking much. So, Mom's laughter is taking over everything. Now, with that said,
Not much.
Wow, this is going to be an interesting ride. This is going to continue this laughter all night. Eliza Pinckney, let's get serious. Eliza's story is much better, so if you don't know it, I'm going to tell you anyway. So Eliza marries Charles at a young age according to today's standards. If you're going to ask her how old she was, do not expect numbers from the colonial days that she came from, when young ladies got married like 12 and 14, younger than you. You would be married already.
And
So
kids.
I know, right? So think of today's standards because the husband was double her age. So kind of keep that in mind. I'm just giving you clues because, again, I'm not going to give you answers. So with that in mind, Eliza married him because her father was over in England. He thinks he's dying. He's trying to bring all of his children home one last time so he can see them. Eliza didn't believe he was dying, so she stayed put right here, got married. It's 1744. You don't get married at that time to get a green card. We're not a country yet.
Right.
So this was true love. This is a true love story. There's nothing horrific about what we're about to go through. So that's part of the reason why I love to start our first location here, is because it is a place of respect. So kind of keep that in mind as while we're here. So anyway, Eliza was right. Dad didn't die. She was correct. And she's already married. So Dad starts sending her gifts from England to where you're standing. One of those gifts happened to be the plant seeds of indigo. That's a plant that makes blue dye, makes your blue jeans blue. That's what we use it for now. When she got her seeds, though, she didn't know what to do with it. She actually had to learn from her servants and slaves right here on the property how to keep it going. It's not hot here all the time. You guys don't live far from here, you know that. So once she figured out how to keep it going, she learned how to make the dye right here and then moved it to a cash crop down by the Stono River. Got a hold of Dad and told him, rice plantations are going downhill. We're going to make a killing on this indigo. And now we have an international businesswoman in colonial days. This is something absolutely unheard of, and this woman is not nearly talked about enough. So,
Right.
That's the boring business stuff of Eliza. Let's get into the weird shit, because that's why you guys are here. So you're going to keep focused on one set of questions.
Okay.
So normally when I have a group this size, you're going to focus on Eliza's death. She's pretty open about talking about it. And this isn't you have to ask out loud, or you could just focus on it. That's okay too. There's no right or wrong way to do this. Because again, everybody's capabilities and mentalities are different. So the 4 common questions that we get to her death are: how old were you when you died? What did you die from? Where are you buried? And which president was a pallbearer at your funeral? So, are you familiar with what a pallbearer is? Okay. Most teenagers aren't. Let me explain. So I want you to think of a funeral, and there are a bunch of men carrying the coffin to the grave.
Yeah.
They're called pallbearers. It's an honor to be able to do that. So Eliza actually had a president do that for her.
Wow.
So, and it was at his own request. I'll just put that out there. So she didn't ask him; he just did it out of respect for her. So that's a big deal. So again, just kind of keep that in mind. Sorry, when I get teenagers, I feel like I need to help you mold them a little bit.
Yeah.
So
No, that's
it's one of
great.
those things where, like, it's a lot different when I'm telling you the history. It's a lot different when Eliza is going to tell you the answers and to verify it. So that's kind of the whole point of this. So I haven't looked at my word list since I've started it. So let's take a quick gander at that out of my butt pocket. Let's see. I don't know who the hell Gene is. Undergrad, that would be you. Drunk. Are you drunk? It could be. I don't know. 2/3. That's an interesting piece. 2/3. What were slaves worth in a vote? Does anybody know? 2/3 or 3/5?
I don't know.
So back in the day, like after the Civil War, basically slaves were offered to be able to vote. So that way whoever was running for presidency at that time can gain more votes. However, they didn't think of slaves as whole people. So they gave them 3/5 or 2/3 of a vote. Like it was a percentage. So in essence, it would take 2 to 3 people to count as one vote. It was a degrading thing, is what I'm
Yeah.
trying to tell you.
Yeah.
Okay, so, but I have the phrase 2/3 right here, and that would have been right around the, maybe a few minutes before I was about to start telling you that she had to learn from her slaves that were right here on the property. So it's just an interesting piece. I'll look up the number to see if I can get anything. The name Harriet, keep that in mind, that's on here. We're going to see if anything else pops up with it. I read for definitely something else to go on. This is the location, by the way, where we had those frightening, dangerous EMF readings. So this is where I'm going to start measuring everything, kind of comparing everything. I hate to say like I'm going to go off on my own and kind of just wander, because we were
Yeah.
getting most of those readings from the back half of this.
Okay.
So I'm going to say for you, just crank it up
Yeah.
and kind of see what goes on there.
Okay.
And then if you want to try to share the like what you have going on,
Okay.
I might have a set of earbuds in case you guys like want to just do one earbud and you guys share it. So that could work too, to see if you guys, because I used to do that all the time before I bought the headphones.
Yeah.
They're just more comfortable and it's better quality.
Right.
But the earbuds, if I give them, offer them up, you guys are going to keep them because I don't want your earwax. So 20.8. So now that we're getting readings, let me kind of explain what this is. So if I were to put this device behind your TV set, it's going to read about 40 to 60 milligauss. Okay, I like to keep everything in the same unit of measure. See the little MGs next to them? This next to your microwave while running on high, heating up your food, is going to be about 150 to 170 depending on the wattage of your microwave. This guy goes up to 200. I've seen this guy air out. Like it went above 200. It's like putting your head inside the running microwave. That's why it's dangerous. It's electricity in the air. So we just had a 20.8. The average for this location is about 18 to 22. That's what I
Okay.
see, like, we'll just say 5 out of 7 nights a week. So I expect those kind of numbers. But again, 20.8 right off the start, and this isn't measuring anything yet. And I'll debunk a lot of things because we do have like a lot of, like our sidewalks are littered with electrical lines underneath for all of the
Right.
parking meters and that kind of thing. So I don't even look at these on that. So if I assign these devices out, I just tell them to ignore them when we're walking around, like outside of our spaces. So again, I want to get a basic read just like this, just to see if I can get anything to kind of match up. This is dangerous levels. This is reading somewhat safe levels. So again, no EMF is completely safe, but
Right.
this is measuring what can harm us. So 19.3, and you see how it's going back and forth?
Yeah.
If this was coming from something man-made, it would stay within that 19.3 that was just there.
Right.
It would go down to 16, then maybe 21, down to 18, like it would vary back and
Yeah.
forth. So when it goes from like 19 down to 4, like it did, definitely something paranormal going on here.
Yeah.
So, like, this is exciting, and this is me excited about these numbers.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know it's common for me to see those, but this is staying steady at 0.7, which is almost a good thing, because that means it's coming from something man-made. When it stays steady, or I see a rhythm, like 0.7, 0.9, 0.7, 0.9, that's a pulse. That means
Right.
it's man-made. that's cell phone, that's a transformer nearby. You're getting my point. So I'll be writing down 20.8 and the 19.3 so far, but we're going to see how high I can get it. So I'm going to take a quick lap. I don't know if you guys want to follow me, if you want to stay up here and listen, however you want to do it.
I'm gonna listen.
Do you want to try the earbuds? Do you guys want to try that route?
No, I want to do that.
She's like, nope, I don't want to do this. Okay.
You got it. How long am I supposed to stay recording, by the way?
For the entire duration that we're here.
Okay.
So if you were to hit the record button, by the time you think you saw something, it's gone. So
Right.
we just keep it running for the entire time that you're here. When we kind of regroup, and before I give you all of the answers to all of the questions and see how this all ties together, I'll say go ahead and give your hands a break. You'll hit the stop button and kind of, you can put it in your pocket at that point. And then if it goes, a little wonky, we could just fix it. It's not a big deal. So let me just take a quick lap because I definitely want to measure the back while we're here. So you listen in, you film, and try to remember all the shit she says.
I do that a lot. I got it.
Sometimes being the videographer on there just goes on people's patience. Most people don't have it. Can be done. What have you heard so far? Anything? Has she said anything?
It's kind of garbled.
Okay. I mean, you can walk around, try to see what's going on. So, are you an only child? Are you the only ghost hunting child?
I'm the only child.
California.
Okay. Now we're talking. Come on, Eliza, get closer than that. As soon as she said California, it spiked up to 21. Now I just got a 24.
What?
As soon as you said California, it went up to 24, which is a big spike. I did get up to 38.8 in the back.
Did it?
But the other, like, dangerous reading one only went up to like a 1 point something. It was very small.
Huh.
So, again, I'm not going to count the other nights at this point that they were dangerous because I didn't
Right.
have both of them out, so I don't know. We just left in a hurry. Anything else that may have stuck out?
I think it was black,
Okay.
but I mean everything is garbled and it goes so fast that sometimes it's hard. So the ones I hear are like blatantly clear.
Yep. And it's actually on its slowest level for her. Because again, beginner methods. So it's on level 1. Like it's as slow as it can go.
Yeah.
So when they go do their stuff on TV, it's on that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
And it makes, when I'm listening, it makes my heart like,
And that's part of the reason why they do it.
oh,
Because it raises the emotion of fear.
yeah, yeah. It works.
It does. And that's why you continue to watch. And their ratings go up. So, check the word. Let's see what else we got going on. How's our cold spot moving? In the same area?
Nothing special.
Not yet. That we know of. And we might not capture anything tonight. That's a good possibility too.
Right.
So, again, I can't make shit up. I mean, it's on camera. That's why we use it that way. You didn't know about like that different type of voting for slaves? Was that something they didn't?
No, I didn't. I didn't hear what you said the first time.
Oh, I got you. Well, all that stuff they teach you in history class, it gets relevant. You just got to know how. I didn't pay attention in history class either. I was paying attention in English class. That was the difference.
Okay, 10445.
What was it?
1045. It's like
Okay.
a phone number. I guess it's going out.
Mhm. So numbers and names usually don't lie. Let me show you how. I told you that Charles was over double her age.
Yeah,
Guess how old he was?
45.
He was 45. So even though you heard 1045,
Uh-huh.
that thing is slowed down. It's
Yeah.
going to pick up words before and after or
Right.
the actual message. What color is a big red barn? Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer.
Right.
I don't need Rudolph the nosed reindeer.
Right,
I just
right.
need the four or the red in the middle. 1045. And I just got a 52.7.
Wow.
Yeah, it's good. We don't want it's high, but it's not like too high.
Right.
That's the way it was. Like I'm good with that. Like triple digits, or so I'm like, what the hell's going on? And now it's like down to 1.
That's how
to
you
2.
should, baby.
You gotta be a mother first. I feel you.
Yeah.
You're gonna hold it at yourself.
Yeah.
You got it.
She loves holding the camera.
cry if we go
herself. It's
cold.
so funny.
Be mindful of somebody walking by with their car. 46.6. 15.5.
It's cool, ain't it?
It is cool.
It's super great when it actually gives us shit.
Well, the ground is so blue.
Well, the gentleman last night that was using it, and I'll be honest, I normally hand that to the quiet dad.
Uh-huh.
You know, he doesn't really want to be here, kind of mentality. So I kind of give him the, the high tech stuff of
Yeah.
something, a name that he would recognize, like FLIR. So the gentleman last night, like he was super quiet, and I couldn't read him. So I was like, I'm just going to give him the FLIR and see how it goes. And he's like, why are there so many different types of blue on the ground?
Mhm.
So I was like, figure it out, Bill. I can give you the answer, but I want you to figure it out. So, and he was cool with that. Like, this is an older gentleman. Like, he's a little bit older than me, and he's kind of like, well, I see mud and gravel, cement. I'm like, exactly. They're all different temperatures. They're all still colder than the wall, but that's why you have all those different temperatures of blue on the ground. So, like, kudos to you, Bill. Good job. Get a job with me later. Anything else crazy? Because I don't really see anything else going nuts aside from, I mean, I'm happy with that 52 and calling that, like, that's our spike. Like, that's the
Yeah.
highest we've had. Gifted illness.
Bible has come up twice.
Okay. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
What is that?
Like, just a straight yeah. Like, that's weird. Because that is definitely not coming from a colonial ghost. Gotta know the language. So, I say we call it because I'm just trying to be respectful to Eliza.
Yes.
I'll explain things.
Okay.
Go ahead and give your video a rest. So I'm actually quite pleased the fact that we didn't have to run out of here tonight. So
Yeah.
thank you, Eliza, for that. So let's kind of cover the answers, and then I'll explain for you, and you're good to go. You don't need to necessarily keep it on one of us in here, just because there is enough foliage to be able to keep the temperature. And we are the weirdos, so when we get past other tours, we're usually the ones getting stared at, because you guys are all holding my blanky-like devices, and like, what the hell are they doing? Yeah, it happens all the time. I didn't have actually a whole lot of friends when I first started doing this, because I was stealing a lot of business. And I also keep my groups pretty small. I was actually featured. I had our local newspaper, the Post and Courier. They were actually on the tour. Like, news cameras following me around, like the whole 9 yards. Like they have bright lights. I'm like, guys, you gotta kill me with the lights here. I can't even see what the hell I'm doing. I had a team of like 6 to 7 people that night. But ever since like I made the front page and beat all of these other like even bulldog tours and that kind of thing in the article,
Right.
and now all of these other tour guys are starting to recognize me because I have like a slew of these kind of hats, and, you know, that kind of thing, and I'm the guy with the backpack. So they're like,
You're
okay.
like Dora.
But, yeah, pretty much. What's funny is I call my wife Dora. I told you I live like on an acre of land by a lake. There's no lights, so my wife wears a headlamp to take the dogs out, and I'm like, Dora, get your shit together. I know, right? But she's disabled, so I get it. So it's like, come on, this looks really bad. Like she's flashing cars and trains going by, and we live next to a train track. Like the train track is literally like, here's my driveway, there's a train. Like it's that close. You get used to it.
Yeah.
It's worth it not to not have people that close. No offense, but you get my point. I don't like neighbors; they suck.
Yeah. He sounds like Sean.
God, I hate neighbors. I moved out of the suburbs where we were like literally in the suburbia, and I couldn't take it anymore. You know, between their dogs and my dogs not getting along with their dogs. I don't like the neighbors. They're partying in the street in the middle of the night. Like I couldn't do it. Like put me out in the country. I don't care where. Just get me the hell out of here. Anyway, back to Philadelphia. So this used to be called Jewelers Alley. So have you ever been down here? They've been talking about this alley forever. So let's kind of go and stir this shit up, right? Every ghost tour that does come down here, because every ghost tour does come down here, they all tell the same damn story. I'm just going to give you a little bit more detail and rush through it so we can stir the pot, and then we're going to leave. That's kind of how this is going to go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to go basically up and around the corner, and hopefully you will be getting answers from that piece of history plus this one, because that's the bleed over that we're going to get from the next location. You're perfect on the camera. I like to get a nice long shot of this, particular alley, so that way in case we do have somebody, it's going to be a blue person walking down the alley.
Cool.
And you are still recording, right? Okay, perfect. Sometimes people hit the button and they don't realize it. I don't know why. It's just weird. So here's how the story goes. There's a doctor that moves down here from Rhode Island. His name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. Do you see why all your medical terms make sense here now? You heard surgical. You heard, what was the other term?
Treatment.
Treatment. So surgical and treatment. We're on the right path. So you didn't start hearing medical terms until we walked down this alley. Here's how it goes. By the way, if you hear the song Brown Eyed Girl, it's part of the doctor's name. It's
we were
not.
listening to that in the car earlier.
Yeah, it came out.
Where were you at in the car?
Were
you near here?
Yeah. No, I think so.
It's part of his name, Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. We get it all the time.
Huh.
So, and it's that specific lyric because Doc isn't going to know who the hell sang it.
Right.
You know what I mean? He's not waiting.
Right.
That kind of thing. So, anyway, he moves down here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. You could be their counselor. Who knows? They're a psychologist. Sorry. Just going to give you a hard time. No. Because I know you're giving me a hard time. I could dish it right back. Oh, whatever. See? Exactly. Anyway, Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. So she has an attorney helping her out with all the cash, and the attorney thinks that Dr. Ladd is just after Amanda's money. So he tells Amanda to get rid of him. He comes down here to Charleston to prove that he's not. On his way into town, he had a coach bring him in, and the coachman driving it set him up to be robbed and killed. It's kind of like having a really bad Uber driver. Yeah, exactly. Try to put that in perspective when I get the younger people in my groups. And the adults all laugh, but they get it. And it's funny, it's because they all take Ubers to come find me. They're like, great, we got to take an Uber home. Like, yep, good job. You're welcome. But anyway, I got a weird sense of humor. Thank you for getting it.
It's fine. we're really messed up too. So.
Somebody was walking by and seeing what was about to happen to the doctor, the newcomer in town, because he knew the coachman. That somebody walking by, his name was Ralph Isaacs. I stop on him and say his name slowly because he has the same initials as where the doctor came from, Rhode Island. So we were getting the letters RI all the time on those spirit boxes, so I bought a new device specifically for here. It's called an Envoy, but it's basically a digital Ouija board. It works off of EMF, just like the other two machines I was using. Anytime there's a spike, it gives us a letter. We have gotten the letters RI, whenever I brought up Ralph's name only, about half a dozen times in the past year since I bought it. So take that for what it is. I don't always bring it out because it's not always productive. So anyway, back to Ralph. He tells the doc, dude, I know this guy, the coachman. He's going to try to kill you. Come with me. We're going to go to 59 Church Street. I got friends there, and you can rent a room from them. You'll be safe. Doc took him up on the offer, and they became friends because it became a legitimate offer. So the longer the doctor stays here, the more money he's making. He's proving his point. He's not after Amanda's money. He's going to make his own through his own medical practice. And he is. Amanda gets wind of this up north in Rhode Island. She's moving down so that way they could be married. Now, Dr. Ladd gets wind of that. She's coming down. Super great. He becomes known as the Whistling Doctor. this is part of the reason why I was going to take this story out of my route, is because I hate cliches. Every haunted city you're ever going to visit has a cliched whistling ghost. We all have one. Ours just happens to be a doctor, and there is legitimacy to the whistles. We're going to get to it. Now, Dr. Ladd and Ralph Gosse plays together. They can't sit next to each other because the doc makes more money. That's the hierarchy of Charleston. He gets better seats. So they have to talk about these plays on the way home. They go see Richard III one night from Shakespeare, and they're arguing on their way back home to their houses, and the doc thought that the new actress in town was great. Ralph didn't. The argument turns into Ralph insulting the doctor's fiancée, Amanda, and it got really ugly. They went their separate ways. Ralph has friends around town, like I've already told you. He goes to his friends at the newspaper and places an ad in the paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. Kind of a, you're a disgrace to society kind of mentality. Yeah, Doc saw the ad, but he rebutted with, let's go to Dueler's Alley. Somebody's gonna die. Yeah, crazy shit. They started this argument over an actress, by the way. So, the two gentlemen came down, back to back, took their 10 paces away from each other. They turned. Doc points his gun in the air and shoots his one shot. He didn't want to kill his friend. He just wanted the courage to show up, which is often what happens at a duel. Ralph has his one bullet. He puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. Doc didn't die here. His friends picked him up, took him home to 59 Church Street. He died 10 days later, November 2nd of 1786, after refusing medical treatment. Let me point out two things. It's 1786. Same time frame as Eliza Pinckney, too, by the way, so kind of keep that in mind. They probably knew each other. But at the same time, 1786 gunshot wounds are a lot different than they are now. So he's also a doctor, so he refused medical treatment. He probably just thought he had lead poisoning and tried to bleed it out himself. So he failed because he died, obviously. Now, every ghost tour that comes down here tells you, listen for the whistles. It is always this quiet down here, ladies, unless, of course, the air conditioning for that building is running. Busy Saturday afternoon, this is what it sounds like, unless there's other people down here. We are the only ones down here currently, and we have a video camera running that records audio. We also have my voice recorder. If we're going to capture an actual whistle, it's going to show up on one of those two devices. I will say we caught an audible one in real time about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. Super cool stuff. I was actually pretty excited about it. But we've also gotten a whistling part of a song and then the word doctor from a commercial immediately after. Doctor, get it all the time. Dozens and dozens of times that has happened. I don't look for it, it just happens. So take that for what it is. Actually, last night's recording, I could have swore it was a disembodied whistle, meaning it was not the radio chatter. Again, it was too short for me to be able to analyze it, but at the same time, it did not sound like normal radio chatter sounds like what you're listening to right now. It was very in the distance. It was very weird. So again, you can go back and see it because I save all your data on my website by month. So you can see last night's investigation and go back and see where their marker is.
Cool.
Yeah, it's all up there for an entire year. So if there's a specific date, like your birthday, you want to go back and see what happened, go back and look. I don't hide anything. It's all there. That's where I get all the data from for the almanac and my workbooks. So by all means. Anyway, back to Dr. Ladd. If you're going to try this shit on your own and you're going to walk all the way through here without me, because I can't take you all the way through because I've been kicked out of here. We're going to talk about that in a minute. That's the fun part. And it's like, yeah, there's the juicy stuff. Now, turn on your voice recorders from your phones and walk all the way through. Just remember that every local knows the damn story. Anybody, except for you, of course. Anybody walking up and down Cumberland or Queen Street is going to throw a whistle down the alley. I've already showed you where my garage was. My office is that way. I used to have to pass this alley every morning between 3 to 5 a.m. depending on when I got done. And I would always throw a whistle down since I've been thrown out, just for shits and giggles. Now, here's how I got thrown out of here. This will also show you the extent of my research. The alley, the way we came in, there was a wall up there. It was blocked off. Yeah, back in the day. The reason why is because this used to be called Cow Alley. This is where they kept the livestock for the city of Charleston. So this was before Dueler's Alley, so we're going further back. Now, cows, goats, and chickens are all down here. What does that mean for you? That means that the bricks down at the other side are older than the bricks you're standing on. Those are sun-dried bricks from slave children. There's a full handprint from a slave child down there, and fingerprint swipes and others. Now, some of the bricks up here that gentleman was trying to show off to his guests, like those are kind of planted. So he's showing them falses, if that makes sense. I hate to tell him that, but again, it is what it is. He doesn't do his research, apparently. But at the same time, I used to take my group all the way through here for a history lesson. There's nothing paranormal about that brick. You already know how I treat, cemeteries. I treat the brick the same way. The kid's not there. That's the last place you're going to find him. November 26th, 2020. Date will forever remain in my memory. I took my entire group down there for their history lesson, and I told them, we're not going to stop and stare at the brick and wait for something to happen. They didn't listen. 10 people stood around one brick waiting for something to happen. Well, guess what? We're also outside a gentleman's dining room window of his beautiful mansion at the end of the alley. I'm just trying to be respectful. I didn't realize that I was out of bounds for tours. I was still new at this. So that gentleman, the new owner of that mansion, came out screaming. My daughter thought it was hysterical because she was on the tour that night and her dad's getting yelled at. She was all about it. So we moved on. The next day, Thanksgiving. I don't tour on Thanksgiving. Here's why. I worked in upper management for Walmart for over 10 years. You guys like to fight over towels on Thanksgiving, and you've scarred me for life. I don't do Thanksgiving ever again. I've already told you I don't do holidays, especially with this. But anyway, so the next day I called my partner that brought me into tourism, and I basically told him what happened, kind of like, what do I do now? Like, my route goes that way. And he's just like, got to reroute it. But he laughed at me just like my daughter did. He's like, you're only allowed to go down halfway, dude. He's like, it's residential at the end. So there's a cutoff line. I'm like, well, he never gave me the map of where the damn cutoff line was. So I rerouted my group. But here's what I told them. I don't believe in the next location as far as being hunted because I've never had anything happen there, and I'm a vampire guy, not a pirate person. We're obviously discussing pirates next. So before we left, somebody with a spirit box, and by the way, I was sold out. It's Black Friday. I'm always busy during holidays. Somebody with a spirit box heard the name Anne. I didn't tell them which pirate we're going to be investigating, the female pirate, Anne Bonny. So it's kind of like, oh shit, maybe we'll get something. I wasn't convinced yet. We go up, I told them a little bit about pirates that I did know, only a day to do research. Somebody else heard the number 300. I didn't know what it meant, so I wrote it down. I don't know much about pirates. Again, not my thing. I did the research. We were there November 28th of 2020. Remember, it's 2 days after my incident with the mansion owner. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy, November 28th of 1720. The exact 300th anniversary of her pirate trial. I normally get the wows, oohs, and ahs, and I was actually pissed off. Let me explain. Told you, I have a lot of degrees in English. I have a master's degree in creative writing. When I'm writing anything, even fiction, I like facts and data to be able to twist around. When I'm doing this, I have to have facts and data. Pirate stories come from pirate lore. Pirate lore was written 100 years after the alleged occurrences of the golden age of piracy. That's a problem for me. Reason why, I gotta read more damn books on a subject I don't even like to make sure the little bit we are getting is validated. Where we're going, granted, I read more books on piracy than I ever wanted to in my entire life. I've watched more documentaries and even played video games to get a different side of the story. So, I am all about, like, pirates at this point. I have even gotten into sea shanties from some of these new modern singers. Like, there's a thing. Like, if you're on TikTok, there's a guy, he calls himself Sail North. He is amazing, by the way. Like, he puts a new spin on sea shanties and writes his own. He's amazing. Yeah, it's a big thing. Sorry, anyway, I'm all about social media, too, in case you didn't catch up on that. I act younger than I am, so we'll go that route.
Obviously, I do too.
No. She's like, I'm not so sure about that. Now, if my daughter were here, she would be giving me the same look, so don't feel bad. So, but anyway, so again, we're going to be discussing Anne Bonny. Hopefully, you're going to get answers from both locations. I do need to write down those two other terms. Anything wackadoodle going on with your device over there that you can see? I know you were watching it. So let me see what I have going on here. EMF. I usually only look for 8s. That's why I don't always bring it out at this location. If I'm the one using it. Oh, look at that.
Cow?
Where are you? Cow Alley.
Cow Alley.
Can't make this shit up, ladies. I promise you. And see, it's gonna give us some stupid crap too, like Daddy No. You know what I mean, like that kind of crap. Like I just throw that stuff away. It growls and stuff too. Every time it gives us a word, it growls. Isn't that cool?
What?
Yeah, I know. I just use it because of the word list of what's actually in there. So the word cow shouldn't be anything scary, right?
Right.
Unless of course you're on mad cow disease form. That would be kind of like, oh shit, we're out of here. But we are in Cow Alley. I can't make this stuff up. That's the whole point. That's why I love using this particular app. I do use a paid version, by the way, so when you guys get your field guide back from me, it's going to be a link at the top of your data set, but that field guide lists every app that I use, and there's free versions of all of them. So I mean, I'm just a plethora of resources for you guys to try to do this shit on your own. Not to mention the podcast shows you how to do all of this stuff too, so I kind of cover everything. Any other major questions on killing people and dueling? No? I know, I asked all the questions. Anna's like, this guy's so weird. Alright, let's learn about crazy rated R pirates.
Okay.
And if the letter R isn't the pirate's favorite letter, then what is their favorite letter? It must be the C.
Ba-dum-bum.
I had you thinking. That's the whole thing.
Territorial. Knees.
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 You shot
Why
him.
is that relevant?
Shot him in the knee.
Bingo.
Oh.
Look at you. I love it.
Oh, give me goosebumps.
Still forgot the patient, right? Was it Surgical inpatient
Treatment.
Treatment.
treatment. Thank you. Maybe you should be writing this shit. Oh, great. It's garbage night. Awesome.
Lived on Naval Weapons Station,
Okay.
Goose Creek.
Oh, yeah.
When I was younger, we lived in Hanahan. We lived in Somerville. We lived in.
Are you like born and raised here?
No, my father was military, so
Okay.
we would come. He was a submariner,
Okay.
and then we'd go up to Virginia. Then we'd come back down, and then we'd go up to North Carolina.
Gotcha.
So it was like that, back and forth. Yeah.
Alright, so this building behind me, those are not crosses on the building.
I was gonna ask.
So a lot of people will assume those are crosses, and they're actually part of the reason why we're here. We're here to discuss this building shortly, but I'll explain why we're here, kind of like the same thing with Dr. Ladd and Eliza. Now, this is the Gunpowder magazine. It's called Gunpowder for 7 Different Wars. It's a museum now. If you want a great $5 to spend to get out of our heat or cold, this is usually where I send people. It's an interesting building. They tell you about the architecture on the inside. I don't get into that anymore because people get bored with architecture, but those are earthquake bolts.
Oh.
So earthquake bolts are turnbuckles. So they go all the way through, and they look just like that on the other side. If we have another major earthquake, like what we did in 1886, you can turn the turnbuckles, and it tightens the building so it doesn't incur further damage. It's a great idea. It just doesn't work. Yeah. No, I bring those up because they're all over town. Even the apartment building behind it has them on every single floor. You can see those peach squares up there. You guys will see them. When you guys are out and about, you'll see them in lion heads and pineapples and all kinds of Charleston term bullshit. That's exactly all it is because they don't work. Now, these earthquake bolts, the reason I bring them up is because that's the first set that Charleston ever installed. The reason why is because this is the oldest government building in South Carolina. It was finished in 1713. The building was being made at the same time that Anne Bonny came here to start her new life. This is what I call a familiar. Let me explain. You guys have seen the Boo Buddy? That's the teddy bear with the little blinky light K2 meter in it? You've seen it? Somewhat? Yes? Okay.
I haven't. No.
It's basically, they designed this bear, so if you touch it or if it gets touched, it says, oh, that tickles, and that kind of thing. So you can get a child ghost to try to interact with you.
Okay.
Think of that concept because the child would recognize it as a toy.
Oh.
Same thing here. We don't have many buildings this old, and this is something from Anne Bonny's era. So hopefully she's going to be here at the same time that we are. It's a 50-50 roll of the dice. I never know. So let's kind of get into her story. The history begins right in the middle of the building's construction because the building took 10 years to build. Does that sound like our government? Small building? 10 years? Not at all. She's like, yep, sure does. Now, anyway, 1708 is where we begin. So try to follow me. I will slow down on twists because we're talking about a kick-ass female pirate here. But I will breeze through everything else because there is a lot of information here. Okay, so the twists start right at the beginning. Young lady moves here from Ireland. Her name is Anne Cormac. She comes here with her father and his mistress.
Oh.
The mistress is Anne's mother. You with me so far?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Want to be a marriage counselor? Keep up.
Yeah.
So the three of them are running away from her father's angry wife. How pissed was the wife that she booted him out of the damn country?
Oh.
Yeah, and it's by boat because there's no planes yet. Now, they land in Georgetown. You guys know where that's at. You probably passed through it on the way here, in between us and Myrtle Beach. Now, Dad bought a plantation up there in Georgetown, but Mom dies pretty quickly. That means Dad is now sending young Anne down here to sell things from the plantation to keep things afloat, hence the familiar building. So, again, not many in the area. Let's take a step back to Ireland for just a second so you get Anne's mentality. When Anne was only 7, 8, 9 years old, back home in Ireland, they say she killed a servant with a knife to the belly. Yeah, just giving you her kick-ass attitude. And by the way, I said 3 different ages because it's pirate lore. Nothing is exact. You guys getting the point? Next, let's fast forward. The building's done in 13, but by 1715, pirates are starting to come through Charlestown. Anne is stoked. Reason why? She's going to fall in love with one of these guys so that way she can earn her freedom, just like a man. It's a man's world at this time. First guy she fell in love with. I said first slowly because there's a handful. We're going to cover them all. That's what makes the story so damn good. No, first guy is James Bonny. You already know where this one's going. Dad didn't approve. He's a filthy pirate. They run away to Jamaica. They get married. Anne Cormac is now Anne Bonny. That's where the pirate name came from. However, when she gets down there to Jamaica, she realizes her new husband is not the Captain Jack Sparrow that she was hoping for. This guy, he turns out to be a privateer. That means he's a spy for the British. He's a coward. This isn't who she wanted. She falls in love again. Guy number 2, John Rackham. Everybody calls him Calico Jack. This is the guy they based your Johnny Depp character off of, in case you were wondering. Now, Jack has his own ship. He has his own crew. Anne wants to be part of that crew. She wants to be a pirate. Can't put a female on a pirate ship because it's bad luck. So Jack makes a deal with her. If you dress like the crew, look like a guy, you can be part of the crew, but you're going to be a female in my quarters. She's okay with this because Dad used to cross-dress her as a boy apprentice back home in Ireland to hide her from his wife. She gets it. It's a man's world. She wants to be a pirate. Let's go. We're all adults here. Let's put 2 and 2 together. She is a female in his quarters. She is eventually going to get pregnant. You can't have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew. Somebody's going to figure out that she's a girl, and they'll get rid of Jack as captain. There is a democracy on every ship. They'll vote him off. Before she starts to show her pregnancy, he drops her off in Cuba. Go have the baby here. These are some friends of mine. They'll help you out. Come back, and then we'll figure it out from there. She goes and has that baby, but returns without a child. We have no idea what happened to that baby. None of my research has ever found it. She also comes back dressed as a female. This makes Jack pretty pissed off. Now everybody's going to know he let a girl on the ship. To make him even more mad, she's going to go flirting with the pirate crew he just captured. They're down below deck. Guy number 3. Guy number 3 turns out to be a female, dressed like a guy, part of the crew the Calico Jack just captured.
Oh.
So now we have 2 females, dressed like males, on the same ship, trying to be pirates. Her name, Mary Reed. She went by Mark Reed to become a pirate. Now, Mary and Anne became friends for sure, maybe lovers, we're not really certain because of the time frame. But the British find out where they are. They send a whole fleet of ships to come take down one measly little pirate ship. Yeah. Rumor is Anne and Mary were the only 2 pirates not drunk enough to come up and fight with 1-bullet flintlocks. They don't know how to use cannons yet because they haven't been pirates for very long. So, obviously 2 ladies with 1-bullet guns cannot take on a whole fleet of Navy ships. They get arrested. And as they're being arrested, Anne looks at her captain in bow, Jack, and says, "I'm so sorry to see you here, Jack, but if you would have fought like a man, you wouldn't be hanged like a dog." The word dog shows up on our communication devices all the time.
Okay.
Now, the judge wants to see the 2 men, quote-unquote, that fought back so valiantly on their own. He's already tried and hung Calico Jack, then the drunk pirates that wouldn't fight. They're dead and gone. The 2 ladies go in front of the judge and reveal their gender, hoping to save themselves. The judge could give a shit that they are female. They are still pirates. He's still going to hang them. They scream out, "We plead our bellies," which means they're claiming to be pregnant. You can't hang a pregnant woman in 1720. It's illegal. So he sends them both back to jail, delays the hanging. The plan worked. Dad is still up here in South Carolina with all of his Irish money. He bails out Anne and brings her home. She remarries. That's husband number 2, but guy number 4. We're going to count Mary. We don't really know.
Yeah.
She has 4 kids, dies at the age of 84. Very abrupt ending because we don't know anything for certain after her pirate career. And I'm not going to spread rumors and lies and speculations. There's a lot of them, by the way. Mary Reed died 5 months later in that Jamaican jail from whatever pirates die from in a Jamaican jail. Use your imagination. Most books will tell you that it was fever. I'm going to say, let's make it romantic and call it scurvy. Why the hell not? I'm not going to control the environment here like what I did at the Pinckney Mansion site. You can ask whatever the hell you want to at this location. I usually tell people if you brought a bottle of rum and tobacco, have at it. It'll only entice things to happen. Here's what I left out, just so you have something to work with. I did not tell you the names of Anne Bonny's parents. That's the father and the mistress. I did not tell you the city she grew up in Ireland, the name of Calico Jack's ship that she joined, and the color of her hair. Anything else you want to ask is completely up to you. Some of it I can prove, some of it I can't. If you ask about the baby in Cuba, I cannot prove it because I don't know. If you have a conversation about it, that is personal to you only, of whatever you're going to hear about this. So let me check the word list real quick. I'm going to try to see if I can get any EMF out of this location. I'm actually excited about any EMF that I get out of this location because we don't get it often. A whole lot of nothing. See why it's only 20% accurate? Perfect. So, crank that thing up. Let's see what we can get. I'm actually going to, since I have a little step in this hill, I'm going to put this other hand up. We're near the church.
Huh?
We're near the church. We get that religious connotation
yeah?
all the time. Yep. It's just something.
It was very clear. Hands.
Is there somebody in that car?
Huh?
Which lady's in that car? I just look. I don't have my glasses on.
Oh.
comes another tour. You can tell because the tour guide
That's careless.
is loud. And would she call you earlier worthless? Is that
Yeah.
what the term was?
Yeah.
Careless. Mom's studying hard over here. You see her? She is focused. You gotta give us more. More details. I don't care if you just throw us your damn names. Enough. Quick, short, move on. The word flavor just showed up, and it showed up here a few nights ago too. Just weird. Just pointing it out, talking out loud.
Murfreesboro? Murfreesboro, yeah. And there's a whole like our whole
Yeah, another short coming through.
You want some help?
Told you, we're the weirdos. It's every night. It's every single night. Fridays and Saturdays are the worst because all the hecklers are out too.
Oh yeah.
And if I don't have one in my tour,
Huh?
then they're out and about. Well, I was just telling her, like, that's normal. Like, those, I don't know if you heard those
He said
ladies walking by.
he's trying to protect his girlfriend from ghosts. They're real. That's what he told her.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's a normal tour. But they just walked by and said, oh my God, those are real people, because we were all standing still.
They
But
probably
imagine
don't.
if I have 10 people plus me.
Yeah.
When another tour walks by, they're like, what the fuck is going on with them?
Probably like, oh my god, it's a cult.
Yeah, I get it all the time. Like, it's just, and I'm in the holy city, so I don't overly advertise. So I kind of keep everything, like, I wasn't the number one thing to do in Charleston. I could easily push myself up there.
Yeah.
I don't. I make sure you see all of the cheaper tickets first. No equipment, boring, run-of-the-mill. Oh, this
Right.
guy's got his shit together. That's why I'm 6, 7, 8, 9, 10
Right.
things down the line. Just because those hecklers walking by, I don't want them on my tour. I'd rather have people that are interested, that are going to stay focused, have a good time,
Right.
and not sing the damn Ghostbuster theme all night
Right.
long. That happens. That's why my ticket prices are the way they are. That's to keep them guys out.
Yeah.
Because when I first started doing this, yeah, I started off slow,
Yeah.
$20 tickets, that kind of thing, just to see if it was going to take off. And I would get some heckler in the group every time.
Right.
So my wife said, raise the damn prices.
Right.
Nobody will pay, a certain amount to go heckle a guy for
Yeah.
2 hours.
Right.
So that's what we did.
Hey, it worked.
I went too high, because I kept raising the tickets
Uh-huh.
with better equipment. I kept getting and
Yeah.
escalating. At one point, this was $80,
Yeah.
but we noticed that the ticket number was going down.
Yeah.
So we said, let's go seasonal, and let's really balance things out. and
Right,
kinda see what's
right.
up. So yeah, do I have seasonal pricing? Absolutely. as bad as a hotel these days. So if you look at my calendar, it'll say like certain numbers
I
on
did.
this
I
day.
saw it. Yeah.
I have to do it that way.
Yeah.
But it also entices people to book early.
Right.
So if you book more than, I think right now I have it set up for like 12 days in advance because spring break is coming.
Right.
The tickets are cheaper if it's 12 days out. So that way I'm not going day to day knowing what's going on. But if I have to change my plans, then they're going to pay full price.
Right.
I was planning on having dinner with my wife, and then now I don't. So that's a problem. So that's why you're going to pay more money.
Right. Right.
So
No. I get it.
I was just telling her while you were listening over there, I did get the word flavor, and I know that probably doesn't mean anything, but it did show up here a few nights ago as well. So I just looking for patterns, and it was me talking out loud. It'll be on your audio, but I don't have anything going on as far as like what this has. I checked my EMF meter a few times. I got nothing. What else have you heard? Anything?
God, Jesus. I mean, it was
Oh yeah,
constant.
it's the church.
Yeah.
It's the influence from the church
Yeah.
for sure. What's funny is I do have the word speculate, and it was almost immediately after I kind of like said, okay, let's get you cranked up, where I told you I don't speculate what happened to her after her pirate career.
Right.
So again, just interesting how certain words, and I didn't say the word speculate tonight, which I normally do. I say I don't speculate and give you all the speculations of what people say happened to her, and I didn't say that tonight. And it's almost like she caught me. Like, hey, you didn't say speculate, jerk. Get back on track. I also have the word defense, which this is a gunpowder magazine. It's vague, but I would want something else to kind of go along with it. But I really don't have anything else going on with it. Yeah, thank you for not being woo girls. Like that is going on over there. You guys familiar with the term woo girls? Do you not know what that is? You kind of looked at me funny. The girls that go out on the weekends and woo with every little thing that goes on. Yeah, I call those woo girls.
We do that during the daytime.
But there's a difference. Like the laughing and cackling, I enjoy. The woo girls that show up and they're half drunk, my ass goes home. Like I'm not taking girls in high heels that have had a few too many drinks. They got a short dress on. Like I might be taking you through some old ass warehouse. You guys don't know. You know what I mean? So I go home. I've walked out on teams before. I don't give a shit.
Give me my toys. I'm going home.
Well, I won't even pass them out.
Oh.
Like if I even get the thought that somebody's intoxicated in any way, so that could be high, stoned, or drunk. If I even get a whiff of it, thanks guys, have a good night.
Yeah.
And I literally will walk away and just shock the crowd. Like what just happened?
Are we supposed to follow him?
Yeah, I've gotten
This is
that.
part of the tour.
Like no, I'm going home. You're drunk. So I don't do it. The word uncle just showed up. It's kind of relevant, but again, I want something else. Like these are all very weird terms that we would get around here, and the only reason why uncle is somewhat relevant. Remember I told you about all the Charles Pinckney gentlemen earlier? Well, Eliza's husband and her nephew are both buried right across the street. So I do have the word uncle. Obviously, one is uncle to the other. So again, it's a vague stretch again, but I would want the name Charles, a year that he died, so forth and so on. So again, I don't feel like anything is going on here tonight, like just between the readings and what we have, what you've heard so far. I'm not surprised by the religious terminology, the medical terminology from Dr. Ladd. I just don't feel like we have Ann here tonight. Are you guys cool with that?
Yeah.
So let's get over the answers. Go ahead and stop your recording.